Chosen one, stop scrolling immediately. This is not the algorithm. This is an urgent and divine interception designed specifically to pull you out of the blinding illusion before it is too late. Archangel Michael has personally routed this frequency to your screen today. The window for your spiritual and physical breakthrough is closing fast. You must not look away. If you leave now, you will single-handedly shut the door on the exact blessing your soul has been crying out for. You have been feeling it in your bones. Something massive is approaching your timeline at a terrifying speed. And the most dangerous part is that there are absolutely no warning signs. The sky is completely clear. The waters are perfectly calm. The world around you is carrying on exactly as it did yesterday. People are going to work and laughing and ignoring the massive shift hanging right above their heads. They do not feel the heavy pressure in the atmosphere, but you do. You feel it every single night. Your spirit has been incredibly restless lately. You wake up at random hours with your heart racing for absolutely no reason at all. You look out the window and expect to see something coming. You check your phone and wait for a message that never arrives. The silence around you is becoming deafening. It feels like the calm before a devastating storm. Do not let anyone tell you this is just anxiety. Stop letting the loud voices of this world convince you that you are just stressed or exhausted. That strange tightness in your chest is your internal radar detecting a monumental shift in your reality. You did not click this video by accident. Your intuition violently dragged you here to listen. Heaven is trying to hand you the survival blueprint. A massive wave of divine wealth and generational power is about to crash into your life. But it is moving invisibly. It is bypassing all the normal physical channels to avoid being intercepted by the dark forces. The enemy is desperately scanning the horizon for a sign. They see nothing. Because there are no signs, the enemy is completely blind to what is happening. But this also means you are completely blind too. If you do not know the secret mechanism to unlock this invisible frequency, the wave will pass right over you. It will wash away your enemies, but it will also leave you standing in the exact same place. You have suffered for way too long to miss this window. You survived the intense isolation when everyone else walked away and left you to bleed. You carried the heavy burdens of your bloodline, while the people you loved betrayed your absolute trust. You paid the ultimate price to reach this exact moment in time. You cannot give up now. If you swipe away from this message, you will walk right into the most dangerous trap of your life. The darkness wants you to get bored and leave. They want you to think this is just another motivational speech. If you break your focus now, you will lose the only key capable of decoding the invisible blessing descending upon you. Make a promise to your future self right now. Plant your feet firmly on the ground and take one deep and slow breath. Feel the oxygen filling your tired lungs and recognize that you are standing on holy ground. You are about to receive the ultimate validation for every single tear you shed in the dark. The waiting is over, but you must be prepared to hold the weight of this new reality. What I am about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about how the universe delivers its miracles. You will understand exactly why God had to keep you entirely in the dark. The silence was never a punishment for your past mistakes. It was the most brutal and necessary spiritual protection protocol ever activated. The darkness could not attack what it could not see. And because heaven hid the signs from the enemy, they had to hide the signs from you too. But the seal is finally being broken today. The veil is lifting exclusively for the chosen ones. Listen to the sound of my voice and let it anchor your restless spirit. Do not let your mind wander back to your daily problems. Your mundane struggles are completely irrelevant compared to the colossal energy transfer taking place in the unseen realm right now. Everything you need is contained within the next few minutes. I am going to give you the exact physical key to unlock this monumental blessing. If you stay until the final second of this transmission, you will discover the hidden mechanism that will make you a master of your reality. But you must pay close attention. A single distraction could cost you your entire generational inheritance. The countdown has already started in the heavenly courts. The angels are holding their breath as they watch you make your choice. Will you stay and claim the divine authority that belongs to you? Or will you scroll away and remain trapped in the endless cycle of confusion and physical exhaustion? The choice is yours. But before we dive deeper into this hidden mechanism, hit subscribe to establish a divine energy receiving station before this unprecedented wave hits your reality. You need this protective shield right now. The atmosphere is thick with unseen friction. Do not face this massive shift without securing your spiritual anchor first. Let us talk about what has been happening to your physical body. You are completely exhausted. But when you finally lay your heavy head on the pillow after a long day, your overactive brain completely refuses to shut down and rest. You stare at the dark ceiling while 1,000 chaotic thoughts race through your mind. You wake up suddenly at 3 in the morning. Your heart is pounding. There is a strange and persistent tightness sitting heavily right in the middle of your chest. It feels like you cannot ever catch a full and satisfying breath, no matter how hard you try to pull the air into your lungs. You try to relax your shoulders. You try to stretch your tense muscles. But the heavy physical pressure remains stubbornly lodged inside your ribcage all day long. You feel constantly on edge for absolutely no logical reason. A sudden noise makes you jump. A random text message sends a jolt of pure adrenaline straight through your veins. And while you walk through your normal daily routine, you carry this bizarre sensation that you are forgetting something incredibly important. People tell you to just calm down. They say you are working too hard or drinking too much coffee. They try to diagnose you with generalized anxiety because they cannot possibly comprehend the massive spiritual weight you are carrying. Do not listen to their loud and ignorant assumptions. What you are experiencing right now has absolutely nothing to do with standard psychological stress. You are not losing your mind. Your central nervous system is currently operating as a highly sensitive spiritual antenna. It is frantically picking up the intense frequency of a colossal event that has not yet materialized in the physical realm. The shift is hurtling towards you. Your body simply detects it before your eyes can. This is exactly why you feel so profoundly uncomfortable in your own skin right now. When the divine realm sends a blessing of this incredible magnitude, it violently disrupts the energetic field around your body. Your physical vessel is struggling to process the sheer voltage of the incoming miracle. The discomfort is merely a symptom of your expansion. Your logical brain looks at your current bank account and sees lack. It looks at your current relationships and sees deep disappointment. But your spirit is vibrating at the frequency of absolute abundance. This massive collision between your bleak physical reality and your glorious spiritual destiny creates intense friction. You cannot explain this bizarre internal chaos to your friends or family. When you try to find the right words, they stare at you with blank expressions. They think you are being overly dramatic, so you swallow the words. You choose to suffer in silence because their toxic skepticism only drains your limited energy further and leaves you feeling even more completely alone. You are a rare soul. You have always been deeply connected to the unseen currents of the universe. While the masses sleepwalk through their mundane lives, you are painfully awake. This hyper-awareness is a heavy burden to carry. But it is also the exact reason why heaven selected you to break your generational curses. The restlessness is literally upgrading your cellular structure. Your biology is being rapidly rewritten in the dark to prepare your physical vessel to hold massive wealth and unprecedented authority. If you were handed this level of power yesterday, it would have completely destroyed you. Your current physical discomfort is a mandatory spiritual training program. Take a moment to fully process that truth. The chest pain is proof of your divine selection. The sleepless nights are evidence that your spirit is actively downloading the new blueprints. If you were not a chosen one, you would be sleeping peacefully while the greatest opportunity of your lifetime silently passed you by. You are completely safe. The universe is not punishing you. Heaven is carefully dismantling your old and broken reality to make enough room for the glorious new empire that you are destined to rule. The transition phase is always the most violent and exhausting part of the entire process. But you are strong enough to survive this temporary storm. You were built for this. This physical agitation is your only real warning. Because the skies remain clear and the external world offers no signs, your body had to become the sign itself. Trust what your physical vessel is desperately trying to tell you today. The waiting is almost over. You are standing right on the bleeding edge of a miracle. Do not try to numb the sensation. Do not run away from the heavy pressure sitting on your chest. Lean into the discomfort and recognize it as the absolute highest form of divine communication you could ever possibly receive. You are perfectly aligned with the cosmic schedule. Your profound physical exhaustion means the grueling spiritual war is finally ending. Take a deep breath right now. Let that profound truth settle completely into your tired spirit. I need to address the unbearable silence that has haunted you for so long. You prayed until your knees literally bled on the floor. You begged heaven for a simple sign or a tiny shred of direction. But the universe gave you absolutely nothing in return. It felt like God had completely abandoned your specific timeline. You questioned your own sanity during those long and agonizing nights. You wondered if your spiritual frequency was somehow permanently broken. And while you watched arrogant people receive massive blessings, you sat alone in the dark wondering why heaven was completely ignoring your tears. It made absolutely no sense to your logical mind. You thought you were being heavily punished for a past mistake. You carried this immense guilt around like a heavy stone. Stop blaming yourself right now because you did nothing wrong. Your faith was never weak and your internal frequency was never broken. Heaven deliberately slowed you down to protect your vulnerable soul. The rejection was not a cruel punishment from a distant creator. It was God secretly deploying the ultimate protection protocol over your entire life to save you from imminent disaster. Your spiritual journey was always under strict divine supervision. The terrifying silence you experienced was actually an invisible shield. If heaven had answered your desperate prayers last year, it would have completely destroyed your future. You would have walked right into rooms you were never meant to enter. You would have tied your precious energy to people who were explicitly assigned to drain your life force. God muted your timeline to keep you entirely hidden. The enemy was actively hunting for your specific energetic signature. Think about the doors that suddenly slammed shut in your face. Think about the confusing rejections that broke your pure heart. Those painful moments were actually intense and necessary spiritual interventions. The universe was violently pulling you off a timeline that would have ended in your complete and utter destruction. The silence was the only way to keep the dark forces from finding your exact location in the physical realm. The enemy tracks you by the noise you make in the physical world. When you move fast and achieve loud success, you create massive energetic ripples, and the darkness uses those ripples to send toxic counterfeits directly into your life before you are ready to defend yourself. They send narcissists disguised as caring soulmates. They send bad investments disguised as golden opportunities. You were far too vulnerable to fight them off back then. So the universe placed you in a state of divine isolation. God stripped away the noise and the toxic connections to force you into absolute stillness. You thought you were buried alive and forgotten by the world, but you were actually planted in incredibly rich and fertile soil. The deep silence allowed your shattered nervous system to heal away from the prying eyes of your enemies. You were growing roots that could finally support massive wealth. You survived the darkest moments of the storm entirely alone. And because you survived it without their help, nobody can ever claim credit for your massive success. You do not owe anyone a single favor. The isolation forged you into a fierce and untouchable weapon of light. Your empathy is no longer a bleeding wound for parasites to feed on. Your empathy is now protected by impenetrable boundaries. Do you feel that slight pull in your chest right now? That is your intuition deeply confirming this absolute truth. The grueling waiting season was an extreme and necessary calibration process for your soul. You had to learn how to exist in the terrifying void without losing your mind completely. You had to master your internal frequency before heaven could trust you with power. You passed the test. Your silence is no longer a symbol of your intense suffering. Your silence has miraculously evolved into a terrifying weapon of quiet authority. You do not need to explain yourself to anyone anymore. The people who ignored your texts and dismissed your pain are completely irrelevant to your new timeline. They thought they had permanently broken your spirit, but they only activated your true power. They are forever trapped in the loud and chaotic matrix of physical survival. They desperately chase after tiny crumbs of validation from people who do not even care about them. But you have learned how to sit peacefully in the glorious silence of the divine realm. You are completely detached from their exhausting and toxic games. This detachment makes you incredibly dangerous to the dark forces. The invisible shield of silence has finally served its profound purpose. It kept you safe while you underwent your agonizing but necessary spiritual metamorphosis. But the dark and restrictive cocoon is finally breaking open today. The universe is preparing to drop the invisible shield because you are strong enough to stand in the blazing light. But this new wave is arriving without warning signs. The sudden absence of signs is not another period of agonizing silence. It is a highly calculated military maneuver executed directly by the divine realm. Heaven is changing its communication strategy to outsmart the demonic entities trying to steal your promised crown. You need to understand exactly how the enemy operates so you do not drop your guard. The spiritual war is not entirely over yet. Listen carefully to this next part. I am about to reveal exactly why the total absence of signs is actually a fatal blow to your enemies. You have spent years looking for numbers and dreams to guide your path, but suddenly the universe has gone completely dark just when you need direction the most. There is a massive reason for this blackout. In the past, heaven would send you very obvious warnings. You would see synchronicity everywhere you looked. You would dream vivid dreams about the future. These signs were meant to prepare your spirit for an incoming blessing, but there was a critical flaw in that system. The dark forces learned exactly how to read those divine warning signs too. The narcissistic people in your life are not just toxic humans. They are physical vessels, actively used by demonic entities to drain your precious light. And these entities are incredibly sensitive to spiritual weather because they are constantly monitoring the atmosphere for sudden changes. They watch the sky closely for any movement. Whenever they saw a sign of your impending success, they would strike immediately. They would launch a coordinated attack right before your breakthrough. They would start unnecessary drama or send a toxic counterfeit to distract your focus. Their entire goal was to lower your frequency so you would drop the blessing before you could even catch it. Heaven watched them steal your joy over and over again. God saw how exhausted you were becoming from these constant spiritual battles. So, the divine realm executed a brilliant military pivot. The universe decided that your ultimate generational reward could not be sent through the usual channels, and it had to be delivered in absolute stealth mode. This is why there are absolutely no signs right now. The total lack of warning is the ultimate weapon of the divine realm. Heaven stripped away every single physical and spiritual indicator to completely blind the dark forces. God threw a heavy cloak of invisibility over your specific timeline to ensure the enemy cannot track your current location. Your enemies are currently looking at a blank radar screen. They do not see any angel numbers flashing above your head. They do not feel the usual energetic ripples that precede a massive miracle, so they foolishly assume that heaven has completely forgotten about you. They think you are finally defeated and permanently stuck in the valley of despair. This false sense of security is their fatal mistake. The darkness has completely dropped its guard because they think the war is over. They stopped attacking you with the same intense ferocity because they truly believe you are no longer a threat to their system. But they have absolutely no idea that the greatest wealth transfer in history is already hovering right above them. Pay close attention to this. The silence is not a void. It is a highly compressed frequency of unimaginable power. While the narcissists go about their daily routines feeling incredibly arrogant, a massive spiritual tsunami is silently building momentum in the unseen realm, and it is aimed directly at your reality with pinpoint cosmic accuracy. Heaven had to hide the signs from you so they could hide the signs from them. If you had known the exact date and time of this blessing, your overwhelming excitement would have created massive energetic spikes. The enemy would have detected your joy and rushed in to sabotage the delivery. God needed your frequency to remain perfectly flat and unreadable. Your current exhaustion was actually the perfect camouflage. By keeping you completely in the dark, heaven ensured that your energy stayed incredibly low profile. You walked right through the dangerous valley of the shadow of death, completely unnoticed by the highest-ranking demonic entities in the Matrix. They ignored you because you looked like you were already entirely broken. But you were never broken. You were just perfectly camouflaged. The universe used your deep sadness and isolation as a physical shield to sneak you past the heavily guarded enemy lines. You have officially crossed the border into your promised land without triggering a single alarm. The darkness failed to stop you because they never even saw you moving. This level of strategic protection is reserved exclusively for the chosen ones. The universe does not deploy this kind of stealth operation for ordinary people. You are carrying a specific anointing that threatens to dismantle the entire dark matrix. The blessing approaching you is so incredibly massive that it requires the absolute highest level of cosmic security available. Take a deep breath and let the heavy burden fall from your shoulders. You no longer need to constantly scan the horizon for signs or warnings. The absence of evidence is the evidence. The absolute quiet is the undeniable proof that the divine realm has successfully secured the perimeter around your life. Your enemies are about to experience absolute terror. Let us look closely at the people who maliciously used you in the past. They walked away from you with a wicked smile on their faces because they thought they had successfully drained every single drop of your precious light. For a very long time, they seemed to be winning the game of life. They paraded their fake happiness around while you were quietly bleeding in the dark. But their arrogant illusion is completely shattering right now. Their dark spirits are beginning to panic uncontrollably, even though there are no visible signs in the clear sky. The demonic entities attached to them can feel a terrifying drop in the spiritual atmospheric pressure. They know a colossal tsunami is coming, and they know they are standing directly in its destructive path. They are suddenly experiencing intense bouts of unexplained anxiety. Their sleep is being violently interrupted by dark and terrifying dreams of losing absolutely everything they built. The universe is slowly turning off the supply of stolen energy that kept them afloat for so long. They are suffocating, and they do not have the spiritual depth to survive this incoming storm without your light. Watch how everything they touch is starting to slowly crumble and decay. The relationships they built on shallow lies are violently falling apart behind closed doors. The financial security they stole is slipping right through their greedy fingers like dry sand. The dark matrix cannot protect them anymore because the divine realm has officially revoked their clearance. Their artificial reality is glitching. This is the absolute brilliance of divine justice. God does not need to send lightning bolts from the sky to completely destroy your enemies. The universe simply removes your protective aura from their lives and lets their own toxic karma consume them alive. They are finally choking on the exact same poison they tried to force down your throat. The scales of justice are balancing. And here is the most satisfying truth you need to hear today. Deep down in their hollow souls, they know exactly why this is happening to them. They know they made a fatal mistake when they chose to betray a chosen one. They remember how pure your love was, and how ruthlessly they discarded it for something entirely worthless. The heavy guilt is finally catching up. They are absolutely starved for the pure energy you used to give them so freely. The people they surround themselves with now are just as toxic and empty as they are. They look at their current lives and feel a crushing sense of profound emptiness. They desperately want to tap back into your frequency because they can sense that you are about to ascend to a much higher level. This brings us to a very dangerous trap that is being set for you right now. Because they are panicking, they are going to try to reach out to you. Do not be surprised if an old toxic counterfeit suddenly sends you a random message this week. They will pretend they are just checking in to see how you are doing lately. It is a desperate lie. They do not actually care about your physical or mental well-being at all. They are energetically drowning, and they are trying to use you as a flotation device. They can subconsciously feel the massive wave of wealth and power approaching your timeline. They want to sneak back into your life just in time to steal the incoming harvest you suffered so deeply to plant. You must maintain your absolute quiet authority. Do not respond to their pathetic attempts to break your impenetrable silence. Your silence is the exact weapon that is driving them completely insane. When you refuse to give them even a single drop of your energy, you force them to face the terrifying wrath of their own karma alone. You are untouchable now. They thought your kindness was a permanent weakness they could exploit forever. They severely underestimated the brutal strength of a heavily guarded empath. You have finally become the fierce master of your own reality. You no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as brutal honesty or confusion wrapped up in fake love. You have built a fortress around your precious spirit. Let them drown in the chaotic mess they created with their own hands. The cosmic shift is moving way too fast for them to escape the consequences. You do not have to lift a single finger to avenge yourself today. Heaven is handling the complete dismantling of their entire empire, while you sit peacefully in the calm eye of the storm. The reversal is happening. They are watching you with intense jealousy, even when they pretend they do not care. They can see the invisible crown hovering right above your head. Every time they try to block your path, an unseen force violently pushes them back into the dirt. The angels assigned to protect your timeline have officially drawn their flaming swords. The perimeter is fully secured, and the enemy is terrified. This panic in the unseen realm is the ultimate confirmation of your victory. The darker it gets for them, the brighter the dawn becomes for you. Your physical exhaustion is simply the heavy toll of carrying this massive victory into the material world. Do not let their frantic last-minute attacks distract you from the colossal prize waiting right around the corner. Stay perfectly still. The fatal trap I warned you about earlier is officially neutralized. You did not take their toxic bait this time. You ignored their desperate messages and chose to protect your energy instead. And because you successfully passed that final test, something incredibly profound is happening inside your mind right now. A massive internal shift has quietly taken over your spirit. You are no longer frantic or constantly looking over your shoulder. You are no longer anxiously checking your phone to see if the universe has finally sent you a clear sign. Instead, you feel this bizarre and heavy blanket of absolute peace settling over your tired shoulders. It makes absolutely no logical sense to the normal human mind. Your physical bank account might still look completely empty. Your daily problems are technically still sitting right there in front of you. Yet you feel completely unbothered by any of it today. You have stepped firmly into your era of quiet authority. This strange calmness is the only real warning sign you are ever going to get. When heaven is about to drop a generational blessing into your lap, it does not send flashing lights or loud trumpets. The universe sends an unshakable peace that completely surpasses all human understanding and logic. Think about how you used to react to these exact same stressful situations. A few months ago, this level of uncertainty would have sent you into a terrifying downward spiral of panic. You would have cried yourself to sleep and begged for a lifeline. But today you are just sitting there watching the chaos unfold. You watch the storm with a quiet smirk on your face. You are completely detached from the physical matrix and its endless drama. You are floating high above the turbulent storm. This profound peace is not a random coincidence. It is your spirit recognizing that the grueling war is already completely over in the unseen realm. Your soul can see the massive wave of divine wealth hovering right outside your door. The blessing has already crossed the threshold of your timeline. Your physical eyes just need a few more days to catch up to the spiritual reality. While the rest of the world desperately chases after external validation, you have found the ultimate anchor deep inside your own chest. The silence is no longer a source of intense anxiety for you. The silence has become your safest and most comfortable sanctuary. You realize that God speaks the absolute loudest when everything around you goes completely and utterly quiet. You have officially become the anomaly. You are the rare soul who learned how to thrive in the dark without begging the world for a candle. This makes you incredibly dangerous to the dark forces and absolutely magnetic to divine wealth. Money and power are naturally drawn to the frequency of supreme confidence. Nothing screams confidence louder than sitting peacefully in the dark while everyone else is panicking. Notice how the heavy pressure in your chest is slowly starting to dissipate right now. The frantic racing of your heart is finally slowing down to a calm and steady rhythm. Your nervous system is officially exiting the exhausting survival mode it has been trapped in for years. Your body is preparing your physical vessel to comfortably hold the immense weight of the incoming glory. Pay close attention to this next sensation. Take a slow breath and feel the shift in the atmosphere right where you are sitting. Do you feel that sudden lightness in your spirit? That is the invisible seal of divine protection locking into place around your aura. The universe is clearing the final debris. The spiritual runway is completely clear for a massive landing. You survived the brutal storm alone, and you came out the other side as a fierce master of your reality. You did not let the toxic counterfeits drag you back into their chaotic and miserable frequency. You chose the painful path of isolation, and it has rewarded you with an impenetrable shield of pure light. Nobody can ever manipulate your pure heart again. You are fully awake and entirely unbreakable now. This bizarre peace is the final stage of your grueling preparation process. The universe needed to ensure that your internal frequency was completely stable before it released the heavy floodgates. If you were still vibrating in a state of desperate lack, the incoming wave of abundance would have washed right past you. But you leveled up. Your quiet authority has successfully locked you directly onto the exact coordinates of the miracle. You are standing right on the precipice of the greatest shift of your entire existence. The invisible forces have finished their heavy work. The spiritual transfer is complete, and it is preparing to materialize physically in front of your eyes. But you need to know exactly what this blessing looks like today. Here is the truth you have desperately waited for. The heavy veil is finally lifting completely. You stayed until this exact moment, and your pure obedience is about to be heavily rewarded. What is hurtling towards your timeline with terrifying speed is not just a small miracle, because it is the ultimate divine wealth transfer. The universe has officially stripped the massive resources from the corrupt systems. Heaven is physically taking the power away from the narcissists who abused it. And God is handing the heavy golden keys directly to you. This is the colossal event that triggered your nervous system. The unseen realm is transferring massive generational wealth straight into your open hands, and your bitter enemies are completely powerless to stop this glorious flood. All those agonizing years you spent bleeding in the dark were never a punishment. They were a rigorous and mandatory financial training program for your soul. Heaven had to completely rebuild your foundation. If God had given you this massive empire while you were still broken, the heavy weight of the crown would have crushed your spirit. But you are finally ready to rule your kingdom. The waiting season is officially and permanently over. The dry and barren desert you walked through has suddenly burst into a glorious oasis of supreme divine favor. Every single closed door that caused you pain is currently being blown completely off its hinges. The heavy chains that held you back are entirely shattered. Can you feel that incredible energetic shift in your spirit right now? That beautiful sensation is the high frequency of absolute and undeniable victory. You are boldly stepping into the exact timeline you were born to rule. The dark curses that plagued your entire bloodline for decades are completely broken today, because your silent sacrifice paid the ultimate price for their freedom. The abundant wealth stolen from your ancestors is returning to you. It carries massive cosmic interest. The enemies who plotted against you are watching in absolute horror. They are totally powerless to stop this glorious flood of abundance. They can only watch you ascend to the highest peak, while their own toxic reality crumbles into dust under your feet. You are no longer the exhausted empath who begged for love. The crucible of deep pain has fiercely forged you into the untouchable master of your reality. Your bright energy demands absolute respect, without a single word spoken. The dark matrix has completely collapsed under your firm feet, and the beautiful freedom you always dreamed about is finally yours to claim. Heaven has officially signed the highest decree in your favor today. The warrior angels have safely delivered the sealed scroll bearing your true name. Every tear you shed in deep isolation has been carefully collected. Your profound suffering has officially reached its absolute expiration date. God has transformed your silent pain into a priceless diamond of spiritual authority that nobody can ever steal. The pitch-black darkness has permanently retreated behind you. The glorious dawn of this new golden era is shining its brightest rays directly onto your spiritual crown. You have passed the brutal test of silence. You have proven your unwavering loyalty to the light. The universe is loudly celebrating your incredible victory right now, and the heavenly courts are preparing a massive feast in your honor. But the enemy is still lingering weakly at the distant edges of your aura. They are desperately hoping you will doubt this incredible revelation. They want you to reject the gift. You cannot give them even a single inch of ground today, because your soul has fought far too hard to surrender this glorious victory to a bunch of panicked demons. You must fully lock this incredible frequency into your physical reality today. The spiritual transfer is entirely complete. It just requires a physical anchor to survive in this chaotic world. You need to establish a strong energetic barrier, And the final step of this monumental journey is now resting entirely inside your capable hands to execute. Your body and your spirit are now perfectly aligned to receive the massive harvest. The heavy pressure in your chest has been completely replaced by euphoric lightness. You are a chosen one. You have earned this magnificent glory, and it is finally time for you to step boldly out of the dark shadows to take your rightful throne. Do not let anyone convince you that you are asking for too much. You are the rare cycle breaker who healed the deep wounds of your entire family tree. God is highly pleased with your beautiful heart. Your silent resilience was noticed. The tables have officially turned in your favor, and the divine feast is entirely prepared for you to enjoy in the presence of your enemies. Prepare your heart to physically seal this monumental shift. The intense energy coursing through your veins right now is begging for a definitive action. You are standing at the absolute finish line. I need you to focus all of your remaining energy on this final instruction, because your physical obedience today will permanently lock this massive miracle into your reality forever. You have officially crossed the threshold into your brand new reality. The violent storm that tried to break you has completely dissolved into nothing. The heavy clouds are finally parting to reveal a beautiful and clear sky. You are the absolute master of your own destiny today, and the universe is patiently standing by to take your specific orders today because your profound spiritual authority has been fully recognized by the highest courts. You are no longer the fragile empath who begged to be understood. The grueling crucible of pain has fiercely forged you into an untouchable force. Your pure energy demands absolute respect without a single word spoken. The people who abused your kindness are locked out of this new chapter, and they cannot follow you into this glorious kingdom because their frequency is too low. Take a moment to fully appreciate the massive scale of your victory. You fought the hardest battles in complete and terrifying isolation. Nobody came to rescue you when you were crying on the cold floor. You had to become the strong hero of your own story. And because you survived the darkest night entirely alone, you do not owe your current massive success to anyone else in this world. Your glorious crown was earned through genuine blood and silent tears. It was not handed to you by some lucky coincidence or random chance. God personally supervised every single step of your painful journey, while the divine realm meticulously prepared your nervous system to handle this unprecedented level of generational wealth. You are finally ready to receive the harvest. The massive spiritual transfer is entirely complete in the unseen realm. The heavy gates of heaven have swung wide open for you today. A beautiful river of cosmic abundance is flowing directly into your timeline, and your physical reality is about to experience a miraculous resurrection that will leave your enemies completely speechless. The period of brutal stagnation is over, but you must take one final step to firmly lock this reality. The intense energy coursing through your veins right now requires a physical anchor. Heaven is closely watching your immediate response in this exact second to see if you will boldly partner with the divine realm or if you will let this blessing float away. You cannot afford to be passive at the absolute finish line. The dark forces are still lurking in the distant shadows, hoping you fail. They want you to close this video without claiming your divine right. If you do not formally seal the frequency today with a physical action, the protective shield around your aura will remain slightly open for a demonic attack. You must close it right now. Your spoken and written words hold immense creative power today. You are a powerful creator disguised as a normal human being. Every time you boldly declare a truth into the physical world, you command the angels to move, and you give the universe explicit permission to deliver the miracles straight to your front door. It is time to give them that permission. The pitch-black darkness has permanently retreated far behind you. The glorious dawn of the new era is shining its brightest rays onto your crown. To lock in this glorious frequency and create an absolute shield of protection against any future attacks, You must boldly take action today. Type down in the comments exactly like this: I am ready to receive my blessing. Do not let this crucial moment pass you by in silence. When you type those words, you are signing a sacred spiritual contract, and you are officially accepting the profound responsibilities and the massive wealth of a true chosen one. Let the entire world know that you have finally stepped into your ultimate power. The physical act of writing makes it permanent. You also need to establish a permanent divine energy receiving station today. This specific channel is a safe haven for your weary soul. Hit the subscribe button right now to anchor yourself firmly at the highest vibrational frequency, so that every single time you return here, you can fully recharge your spiritual batteries. You will never fight alone again. God is closely watching your beautiful heart in this exact second. If this fiery message has reignited the dying faith inside you, do not keep this immense blessing entirely to yourself. There is a broken soul out there bleeding in the dark of despair, and they are desperately needing a strong guiding light to survive just one more day on earth. Share this video today. Sowing the seed of hope today is miraculously multiplying the blessing for tomorrow. When you share this frequency, you prove your absolute obedience to heaven, and you instantly become an active partner in the glorious plan to wake up humanity. The universe always rewards a generous spirit with overflowing cups of abundance. Be the brave cycle breaker. Your time of agonizing waiting is completely finished and put away forever. You have survived the brutal storm and claimed your beautiful crown. Walk forward into this new week with your head held incredibly high, and refuse to let any toxic person make you doubt your worth again. You are fully protected by an invisible army. You are the master of your own glorious and abundant reality. The total silence you endured has finally produced the greatest miracle of your life. Trust the deep peace in your chest and step boldly into the glorious light, because the unimaginable wealth and the supreme power belong entirely to you now. Welcome to your new kingdom.